Hello, everybody. Welcome to my live. So, where are we this morning? Well, I decided to get a bagel and some coffee at Einstein Bagels. So, here we are. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about waivers and where they're filed and what some of the difficult parts are for people when they're preparing waivers, because where to file is one of the most difficult parts of the process, jurisdictionally speaking. And then what I'll do, if there's any answers, or questions, I will go back, answer whatever questions you have, and by whatever, I mean whatever immigration related questions you have, and then we will proceed from there. All right. So it's Monday today. So happy Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. So first of all, just briefly, the waiver is when you want to apply at immigration for something and you can't because you're inadmissible for some reason, whether it's a crime, whether you're unlawfully present, whether it's because of fraud, whether it's because of some money issue. There's numerous grounds of inadmissibility, but there's also lots of different waivers. So just as an aside, when you get these people who make comments who go, well, they committed a crime, so they should be deported for the rest of their lives. They know nothing about immigration law. They don't know that there's a whole plethora of law, statutes, cases, and law and so forth on waivers and how and where you can file them. So, unlike other areas of law, just a minute, I have to turn off my. So, unlike other areas of law, just a minute, I have to turn off my. Okay, there we go, better. um, all right, so now when I talk, I won't have stuff popping up on the screen like every second and a half. Okay, so unlike other areas of law where the procedures are all the same, meaning you always prepare something, like whatever it is, petition A, you always file it at, place B, and you always wait for the decision or go to court and so forth. Immigration law is very different because there's so many different places that one can apply, and there's so many different scenarios that you might be inadmissible. You could be inadmissible inside the United States applying for a waiver. You could be outside the United States. You might have already been deported. You might have left under voluntary departure. It just depends. So jurisdictionally, where you file is critically important because what happens if when you oh, thanks for all the likes. What happens when you don't file in the right place? Do you get a call from immigration, wherever it is, Department of State, USCIS, the consulate, wherever it is, and do they say, hello, Joe Blow, we noticed you filed a waiver over here, but we're really not the right place. What you want to do is you want to file it, blah, blah, blah. Do you think that happens? No. What happens? They look at it, they analyze the case, they find out that you have filed in the wrong place, and they stamp rejected and they send it back. No words, no warning, no nothing. It's rejected. Okay. And guess what? Sometimes it takes 6 months to get that because there's a lot of people who are applying for everything in front of you. Okay. And if your waiver is rejected and you don't know about it for 6 months, what does that mean? That means you've wasted 6 months of good processing time because everything takes a long time in immigration. Okay, in case you're wondering, it takes a long time. And so you don't want to file it in a place that is the wrong place, whether it's the consulate, whether it's USCIS, whether it's the Vermont Service Center, whether it's the BIA. I could go on and on with different places, but that's why people need to give me a call for a consultation because I determine where it needs to go. Sometimes people have no other grounds of inadmissibility other than being unlawfully present and they're inside the United States. There's a certain place you file the I-601. Okay, that's the waiver for unlawful presence, and it's the provisional waiver. Sometimes you are more inadmissible on more grounds, such as fraud or crimes or whatever it is, and you're still inside the United States. Where do you file it then? Sometimes you're outside the United States, already deported, and you are unlawfully or have been unlawfully present for more than a year. So you might have to file the waiver of unlawful presence, depending. You might have to file just a regular waiver with all the various grounds. And if you have a prior deportation order, you might have to file the permission to re-enter. You know, what's unfortunate sometimes is I'll get over the years, I'll get someone who say, well, they've been deported 10 years ago and now it's 9 years and, 59 days. Can they go forward? And guess what? Guess what? They could have done that 9 years before then. I always say, and I say it a lot, it's better late than never, because I find a lot of times people, this is the part I don't understand. They don't want to spend attorney's fees to have the person do the petition right, okay? To procedurally find out what waivers need to be done, where they need to be done, and then, of course, to make them strong. And that's a whole different story, making it strong, as opposed to where to file it. If you file a waiver in the right place, but it's a weak waiver, what's the use? Okay, so you need to file it in the right place. You needed to be persuasive. You need to do all that. And sometimes people will go year after year after year trying on their own, getting rejected, doing research on the internet, filing somewhere else, getting rejected again, all the while just spinning their wheels. And it's got to be more expensive year after year after year doing all this and not being able to be with your family, not being able to get lawful permanent residency, and being able to get a higher quality job with more pay. So if you look at it like that, the honest truth, I'm not trying to sell anything here. The honest truth is it's probably way cheaper. And of course, it's faster if you were to have an attorney who knows what they're doing do it. Okay. Even then, you don't want to go to just any attorney. You want to go to an immigration attorney with experience in waivers, deportation, inadmissibility. Okay. All of that stuff is important. So, the bottom line, the moral of the story is one, unlike other areas of law, immigration is very convoluted many times as to where to file and when to file and what to file. Jurisdiction's everything. You understand that some agency gets something that they don't have to spend time on because they get the same amount of money for their work, whether they look at your thing or not. If they find that it doesn't meet the jurisdiction requirements, they're going to say adios, amigo, and they're going to reject it and send it back to you. Okay? So make sure it is filed in the right place, and that will make your life a whole lot easier. And chances are, if you get the consultation from the attorney, you might be able to come in a whole lot sooner than you think. You might be able to get the green card a whole lot sooner than you think. Okay? And vice versa. There's other people who just want to jump and do whatever without preparing the waivers, without analyzing the inadmissibility issues. And I can't tell you how many people have left the country to go to the consulate because they think there's no other problems, only to find out they're barred permanently or they're barred for 20 or 10 years from coming back in. I mean, I can still fix it, but why not try to fix it when you're here, not when you've already been barred? Okay. All right. So let's see what other questions we have. That's about it for the waivers for this particular issue. So I'm going to scroll to the beginning here and see if we have any other questions on immigration law. Let's see, just a minute. Okay, so I'm at the beginning. Let me start scrolling down. Let's see, just a minute. So now you have to be patient because with all the AI today, with all the modern technology, I still have to use my finger to scroll down and see if there's messages. You know what I'm saying? Okay, just a minute. I know it's Monday. People are just waking up. So, sometimes we have a lot of questions, sometimes we don't. Either way, you don't have it this time, you have it next time. Just a second. By the way, if you did want to ask a question, now's the time because when I get to the bottom, that's when I say, have a good day, everyone. Just a minute. Okay. Um, by the way, I I've done some previous articles and so forth on how the administration is making it more difficult for everybody to do everything, and some of that because I used to ask myself, I used to say, how could they possibly try to do that? There's no way it's legal. And then, sure enough, most of the time after I do that, I know it goes through the court systems, injunctions are issued, and then it's reversed. So I go, why would they do that? And then I'm thinking, well, for someone who doesn't know the law, and someone who's not a lawyer, and someone who's from a different country, all of those things, if the president says or does something, they take that as the golden rule of law. And many people around the world have uh, stopped trying to immigrate because they're either afraid or they heard something from the president, from Trump, and they think that that's the way it is. And I'm here to tell you that it's not the case. So I have a comment that says, haven't seen you live in a while. One of my favorite lawyers here. Well, thank you, The Chosen. Um, I've been in and out doing things, and I've been on other platforms, but I definitely like the lives on TikTok. So I'm going to try to get that more regular again. Okay. I am all right. I think we've reached the end. So, anyways, if you do have questions or want to see a live on whatever subject, because you know, immigration is like a puzzle. There's like 10,000 pieces, and you take or put one in one spot, and it affects something somewhere else. So, I can definitely help with any immigration question that you might have. Let me just scroll up and see. I thought someone. Okay. All right. So Daniel with the row says, "How much is the consultation?" Well, I have three different types of consultations. The quickie consultation, which a lot of people want, is free. Okay, but it's only a few minutes long, and it doesn't get into a detail. What it does is allows me to know what's going on, what needs to be done, and the costs. Okay, and I send you an email. But a lot of people want more detail for themselves. They want to know more what's going on, and they want me to look deeper into their case. So I offer a 20-minute consultation for 250 or a 30-minute consultation for 350. So you have to ask yourself, because I have some people, it's funny, they go, well, how could you possibly give a full consultation like 4 minutes? Well, I can. When you've done this for 35 years or however long I've been doing it, I can see the issues very quickly and so forth. But sometimes it does require a larger consultation. And when you're talking to someone who has 3 decades of experience for 20 minutes, I mean, that's a long time to get a ton of information. And likewise for 30 minutes. Okay, Daniel? So there you go. Um, and Super Ice Size says, thank you for replying to my inbox. You are welcome. Okay, I think that's it. All right. So, Moon, I see you just became the #1 fan. And you know what that means? That means you have a question you want to ask me. So here, go ahead. Ask me. Um, and if you don't get it in this time, just ask me next time, okay? All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the Einstein Bagel Live. See my cold brew. All right. Everybody have a good